Doctor Strange. What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we are continuing our Marvel trend, continuing our sort of Marvel MCU sort of train, and we're keeping on chugging, and I think we should go on to Doctor Strange now. We haven't done like the first Doctor Strange here on the channel, but we have done the second one. I have reviewed the second Doctor Strange on the channel, so I'm only doing the first one because I've already done the second one, and that was a while ago when it first came out, I do believe. So I know sort of the reviews, film reviews, show reviews, anime reviews have changed on the channel since that was done, but I've already done it on the channel. I've already gave my opinions on it, I gave my thoughts, and I gave it a rating, and I still stand by that rating. I do have other thoughts on the movie, but it's not enough other thoughts to justify making another video on it. So if you do want to go check that out, you can. It is on the channel. But without any further delay, let's go back and take a look at Doctor Strange 1. So this is a 2016 action fantasy movie, which is an hour and 55 minutes, has a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb and 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. You can watch it on Disney+, YouTube, Google Play, or Amazon Prime. In an accident, Stephen Strange, a famous neurosurgeon, loses the ability to use his hands. He goes to visit the mysterious Ancient One to heal himself and become a great sorcerer under her tutelage. Right, that's what it says. Story sort of sets up him as another Iron Man archetype, another sort of rich asshole which doesn't give a shit about anyone but himself. He gets in a car accident. His hands don't work like they used to, so he pushes everyone away, and he then goes to he does some research, try and fix his hands. He goes to try and find, the Ancient One to sort of learn magic so he can fix his hands and use his hands for good again, because she's helped other people get better and sort of use their legs again. So she agrees to teach him after a little bit of convincing, which wasn't a lot of convincing, and he is being helped by, I forgot his name, a guy, he wears green, I know he wears green, but that's his outfit, and Wong. All three of them sort of help each other, and they learn magic, and there's a threat of a dark wizard who's coming to sort of unleash Dormammu on the world, and he isn't set up all too well. We have a couple of fights with him and Doctor Strange in the mansion, and that's pretty much it. We have like 2 fights with him, one in the street, one in the mansion, and then Dormammu is summoned, and then Doctor Strange is like, Dormammu, I've come to bargain, Dormammu, I've come to bargain, Dormammu, I've come to bargain, I've come to bargain, 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 I've come to bargain, Dormammu, Dormammu, bargain, Dormammu, I've come to bargain. And he defeats Dormammu by literally just being repetitive, and then Dormammu fucks off, and Doctor Strange has become the world's greatest sorcerer. That is it. That is the movie. I'm gonna be honest, this movie was pretty weak in terms of story. I think the story was really weak. Again, it does involve the main villain being a dark version of the main character. Oh no, who would have guessed? It's not like that's happened in every other Marvel movie so far. And I feel like this is the point where we started to become wise to it and sort of get, big brain for ourselves, develop our first neuro thought and be like, hey, something ain't right. These movies feel all the same. But this one does it slightly different with some really good visual effects. I think the magic in this one, with the visual effects, especially with the mirror dimension, is really fucking cool. The mirror dimension looks fucking incredible. And I loved all the scenes in the mirror dimension. It just looked so pretty, so cool, and I just loved how it kept folding in itself and duplicating stuff. It was just really pretty and really well sort of put together, animated, CGI'd, whatever you want to call it. It looked good. It worked well. I liked it. And that's where this movie sort of peaks with its animation, CGI, and effects. And acting is okay for the most part. I feel like the Ancient One's actor could have been a little bit better, showing a little bit more emotion, because she was kind of dead inside for the entire movie. She did feel very one note, and she did feel very similar to Cynthia from the new Marvel, from the Deadpool movie. I think she was called Cynthia. The other bald lady from Deadpool. I got very similar vibes from her as I did with the Ancient One. I don't know why. I just felt they were very, very similar, especially with the way they dressed, way they looked, and way they sort of presented themselves. Like, it just... very, very similar characters. Doctor Strange learning magic was very slow. It was very boring, and I didn't really care for it. It kind of was done in a montage, but then they focused on some parts more than they focused on others. And the bad guy that they set up for the second one was the guy that wears green. I forget what he's called. I genuinely can't remember. But that setup has been nowhere since 2016. Like, he's evil in every multiverse. Yes, fair enough. But he hasn't returned in the main sort of MCU timeline. He hasn't shown up again. He just sort of said he's going to take down sorcerers and stop sorcerers learning sort of magic because he thinks there's too many sorcerers in the world. And then just fucking dipped. He's been nowhere for the past whatever years, and no one's brought him up, no one's mentioned him, except in Doctor Strange 2, where he decided to fight Doctor Strange because he was on the council. That is it. They set him up to be a villain, and never utilized him. Never utilized him, and it's one of those MCU things where it completely got overlooked, completely got retconned, and no one ever speaks about it ever again. It's just one of those things, it's just one of those days, just one of those sort of blink and you miss it moments because it was a post-credit scene that tries to set up another movie, but that movie hasn't arrived yet. And I feel like the longer they wait to answer all these calls, the longer they wait to, the longer it's going to linger and the more people are going to be upset with the fact that they have to go back to watch a older movie to sort of understand the newer one. Because how the MCU is now, you have to watch like 25 movies, like 10 TV shows to understand the newer movies. So I feel like it's gone on for a little bit too long to go back and rely on plot points that were involved, like, 10 movies ago? Like, 10 years ago at this point? It's just too much to go back to. It's too much to fall back on, and it's not like a fluent story. It feels broken up, it feels janky, and it doesn't connect as smoothly as it could have done if you implemented them in earlier. But then again, it falls under the same thing that the other MCU movies do, where they're fighting in New York and the other heroes don't come to help. You see a giant purple crack in the sky like you do in Spider-Man, and no one comes to help. We know that Hawkeye is still in sort of New York as we see him fight Kingpin. We know that Falcon and the Winter Soldier are still in New York as we see them fighting in another building in both of their TV shows. So why didn't Spider-Man step in and help them? Why didn't... I don't fucking know, I can't think of another character. Why didn't anyone else come and help them when they're all living around New York? And Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. is still a thing? So, Avengers level threats or not, I'm sure someone would have heard something and gone to help out. Because, that's what heroes do. They won't just see, oh, Falcon's there, Falcon's got it. They'll all go and try and help. Because then, less lives, less damage, less casualties, people are being saved. It's just the MCU, the way it's built, has a lot of plot holes, has a lot of sort of loose threads, and it's like a house of cards. One card falls, it all crumbles. One card falls, it all crumbles. I'm going to be honest, Doctor Strange was a decent movie. I quite liked it. He isn't one of my favourite characters, but he has been used quite a lot, and he has appeared in so many movies. He appeared in Infinity War, Endgame, and Spider-Man. He appears in so many movies which aren't his own. And I think he's going to be in another movie as well that also isn't his own at some point. I don't know. This is the movie which kind of... I don't know. I feel like it's kind of meh. There's a lot of better options out there to watch if you're watching the MCU. He's kind of a pillar character because he appears in so many other movies. But his own movies aren't that great. This is definitely a meh movie. And... I don't see myself watching this one over and over and over again like I can with some other MCU movies. So I have to give it like a 7, not even a 7. I'm giving it like a 6 out of 10. It's one of the weaker ones.